In this lesson, we are going to talk about one of the most important concepts in programming, which are variables. A variable is like a container in memory where we can store information, give it a name, and use it later in our program. So without variables, we couldn't store values, do calculations, or create useful programs. So let us dive in. So a variable is basically a name we give to a memory location, okay, that holds a value. Okay, think of it like a labeled box, okay, where we can put something inside and later open the box to check or change it. Okay, so let us take a look at how we can create a variable, okay, or that we can name, like give it a name like age and store 20 in it. Okay, so here we have a variable. Let us create a variable. So this variable is going to contain an integer, okay, which is a number. So to store an integer, we need to declare, we need to tell the compiler that this one is an integer. Okay, so using the int keyword, and then here we will write the name of the variable. Okay, so after writing the name of the variable, then this is called declaring. Okay, so this one we tell the compiler, okay, that this age variable exists, okay, but we have not assigned it a value. Okay, we tell it that this age exists in memory, but we don't tell it the space. Okay, it should reserve. Okay, so we need to initialize it. So in order to initialize it, we use the equal sign, and then we set it to be equals, then the value, okay, that we want to store. And in this case, it is a number and it is an integer. So we use 20 like that. Okay, so we are going to use 20. Okay, so with that, we can now print our value. So like that, we can use, then we use the format specifier, which is %d. Okay, for integers we use the %d, okay, which is the format specifier. Okay, so after there, then we are going to specify that we want this format specifier is going to specify for the integers. Okay, so here we need to specify to write, okay, the variable name, okay, there. Okay, so after doing that, we are going to save our file, and then we try to compile using gcc in the terminal, and then we are going to run our program. As you can see, we get output, we get 20. Okay, as you can see. So if we are using cmd, you can just go into cmd like that. If you are using command prompt, you can just press /, you use /, and then the name of the file. Oh no, not /, you can just use home. You can just type home. As you can see, we get this output. Okay, we get this output. Okay, so home is the name of our exe compiled file. Okay, so we get this one. Okay, this is our executable. Okay, home. So after doing that, as you can see, we have seen how we can create a variable. Okay, so declaring, let us look at declaring and initializing variables, okay, that we talked about when I was creating this variable age. Okay, so declaring, or call it a declaration, this one, in this process we tell the compiler the variable's name. Okay, so which is this process. Okay, that process, it is called a declaration process. Okay, so there is another process which we call the initializing process, and this one we give the variable an initial value. Okay, so for example, we can set age because then we can tell it that the initial value is going to be 10, like that. Okay, so this one is called the declaration process of creating a variable, and this one is called the initialization process. Okay, so we can also do them at once. Okay, we can declare and initialize at once in one step by doing it like this. So for instance, if we add int year, we can just initialize, declare like that, and then we initialize like this. So it can be 2020, 2027, like that. Okay, so let us take a look at how the variable naming rules. Okay, so the variable names, okay, in C must follow certain rules. Okay, so the first rule is that they can contain letters, digits, and underscores. Okay, they can contain those ones. For example, you can create it like this one, you can create underscore here, you can create here underscore, like that. Okay, so they can contain underscores, they can contain digits, and they can contain letters. Okay, so another rule is that they must begin with a letter or underscore, not a digit. Okay, so this one is invalid, that one is invalid. Okay, so if it starts with a digit like those ones, like a number, it becomes invalid. Okay, but if it starts with a letter or underscore, then it is valid. Okay, so another rule is that variables are case sensitive, which means this age name, and then this one int age equals to 50, they are different. Okay, so which means this one is different from this one. Okay, they are different. Okay, so they are different. And another one, they cannot be a variable cannot be a keyword like int or return. Okay, like those ones, like main. Okay, those ones. For example, you cannot create a variable with a name like int, like that, int equals to 50. So this one is invalid. Okay, it is invalid. As you can see, it is invalid. Okay, it is not allowed. Okay, so let us now take a look at how we can change a value. For example, if we had our integer there, our age there, we can change its value by just doing it this way. For example, if we print the age there, we can come here and then we change it down here, and then we say age is now equals to, let us set it to be 30, and then we come here, we copy this line of code, and then we paste it there so that we can print our age, our new value. And if we so here, let us add a new line. Okay, let us add a new line like that, new line. Then if we save, and then we come in the terminal, and then we go back, let us go back to PowerShell. I want to use PowerShell so that I cater for those who are using our Linux. Okay, PowerShell, just type PowerShell. Okay, so you will get back in PowerShell, you will go in PowerShell, and here we can press gcc home.c, then -o, then home.exe. So we shall get our exe file, our executable, and then we can run it by just pressing /home. As you can see, we get 10. As you can see, in the first case, age was 10. Okay, so we output the age when age equals to 10. Okay, and then we change the age to 30, and then we output the new age, which is 30. As you can see, we get the 30. Okay, so let us now take a look at how we can use variables in expressions. Okay, so we can use them like this. For example, so we can come here and we say that our age, we can come here and then we say an int sum. We can bind, we can add the age to years. Okay, so for example, you can add the age to another age. For example, we can get the age, and then we add 50, like that. So if we get the sum, let us print out our sum like that. If we compile, let us compile, and then we need to run. As we run, as you can see, we get int out, which means 30 plus 50, we get int. Okay, we can also use instead of adding 50, we can add another age, which is 30, and then we save, and then we run again, we compile, and then we run again, we get 60. We can also do multiply using the asterisk symbol, and then we multiply by 2. We save. If we save and then we compile and then we run, as you can see, we get 60. 30 times 2, we get 60. Okay, so let us take a look at the scope of variables. Okay, so variables also have something called a scope, which means where in the program they can be accessed. Okay, that is the scope. So we have two type of variable. We have the local variables, and these ones are declared inside a function and can only be used there. Okay, so for example, these ones that we have been creating, okay, they can be this age and the sum, they can only be used inside there. Okay, so we have another variable, another type of variable, okay, another scope of a variable, which is called the global variables. Okay, and these ones, they are declared outside all functions and can be used anywhere in our file. For example, we can have here, we can have int lucky number. lucky number like that. Lucky number, let us set the lucky number to be 1 like that. Okay, so if we do that, as you can see here, and then we can come inside here and then we access it. Okay, we can come here and then we printf, we can come here %d, then we can come here and we access the lucky number. As you can see, we can access it, as you can see here. Okay, in VS Code we can access the lucky number, as you can see there. We can access it, okay, like that. But what if we create another function here? Don't mind about it if you don't know how to create a function. We shall take a look at this one later, but just know we can have another function. Let us name it next, like that. Next, like that. Then inside here, let us try to access age, which is inside the main function. Okay, let us try to access it. So if we try to access the age, let us print f. Then here we can access the percentage. We want to access we want to use the format specifier for integers. Then here let us access the age. If we try to type age, as you can see, we cannot access it, as you can see here. Under the options in VS Code, as you can see here, we cannot get access to it. Okay, so as you can see, if we try to do that, and then as you can see here, we get an error identifier, age is undefined. Okay, it is undefined. But let us try to access lucky number. Okay, so if we try to access lucky number, as you can see, we can get access to it. As you can see, we can get access to it, to the lucky number. As you can see, there is no error right now. Okay, so let us now take a look at another concept here. So under the scope of a variable. Okay, so for instance, if we have a variable there, which is I'm sorry guys, so let us output our age. Let us print f our age. Let us print f %d. Here we want to output the age, like that. Okay, so let me show you how another concept. Okay, so here we can use curly brackets. Okay, curly brackets like these ones. Okay, this one inside these curly brackets we are going to create another scope. Okay, this one is going to be like another scope. Okay, where we can execute some code, and this code is going to be different from the rest, or outside these curly brackets. For example, if we create an age, and then we set it to be 70, and then we try to printf to print our age %d, and then we try to print our age. Okay, here, and then from there, and then we come outside these curly brackets, and then we print f without resetting the age. Okay, without resetting the age from 70. Okay, we can come here and then we get %d, and then we print the f. You are going to see that this one, it is not going to output the age, this one. Okay, this one, it is not going to output this one. No, it is not going to. It is going to output this age. Okay, this age, which is 10. Okay, it is the one that it is going to output. And if you want to prove it, if I try to highlight this age, as you can see, they are all selected, but this one is not. As you can see, if I try to move on this one, as you can see, this one is the same as this one, it's the same as this one, it is the same as this one, as you can see. But if I click, if I single tap on this one, as you can see, this one is the same as this one. Okay, but it is not the same as this one, it is not the same as this one, it is not the same as this one, it is not the same as this one also. Okay, as you can see. So if we try to save, what I told you is that it is going to output 10 here using the printf. It is going to output this age when it is 10, and then we go inside this scope, inside this pair of curly brackets here, and here we can have we set the age to be 70, and then we output the value, which is 70. Okay, so after there we exit out of this scope. Okay, which means this age is no longer accessed. Okay, this code, okay, is no longer useful. Okay, so which means we are going to go back to our age, which is this one, which is 10, and then we output the value. Okay, so if we save and then we open our terminal, okay, open our terminal, run gcc compiler to compile, and then we run. If we run, as you can see, we get 10, 70, and 10. Okay, so let me put some lines, new lines, so that we can separate everything after the printf. Can separate everything. Let us separate everything like that. So if we save and then we compile again and then we run, as you can see, we get this output. As you can see, we get 10, 70, 10. Okay, so this one we get 10, 70, 10. Okay, that one, it is the one that we get, which means that this one we first output age when it is 10, and then we go inside this scope, we output age when it is 70. Okay, when it is 70, and then we output age when it is again 10. Okay, because this is a different scope. Okay, it is a different scope. Okay, so that is it. That is